Hi, and welcome to Construction Update. These are the 10 hottest stories on forconstructionpros.com this week. I'm Larry Stewart with For Construction Pros.
And I'm Jessica Lombardo with Asphalt Contractor Magazine. And number 10 this week is the latest episode of Rental Rundown with Jeff STACHOWIAK of SUNBELT Rentals. And in this episode, editor Alexis Brum talks to Jeff about national safety training, and they discuss the latest happenings with the ANSI standards for MEWPs and the impact that they've had on the rental industry.
Number 9 story was NESCO's acquisition of Custom Truck One Source. The purchase price at $14.7 billion brings $750 million in financing to the organization. NESCO and CTOS are providers of specialty truck and heavy equipment solutions, including rental, sales, aftermarket parts, and service. They have a big following in the supply of overhead utility and rail services.
So number 8 is construction startup gains momentum with printing 3D houses. And this story talks about a California construction startup that was launched in 2017 called Mighty Buildings. They're receiving a lot of attention for printing these 3D houses. These tiny homes, which are kind of the trend right now in housing, they're made from materials that are 4 times lighter than similar concrete structures, and they're also water and fire resistant.
Yeah, that's a big business in Southern California where they're located. Auxiliary housing units. You can put them in your yards. A lot of the zoning out here allows them, and they become extra square footage that you can either rent or use for your own purposes. Cool designs, too. I was looking at them online.
They're really neat to look at.
Yeah. Number 7 on the list, our 12 Days of Construction Christmas 2020 gift guide made the top 10 stories of the week with IsoTunes wireless earplug earbuds. These free hearing protection earbuds are ANSI certified and OSHA compliant with a 22 dB noise reduction. Work out for yourselves whether you want workers on your sites immersed in their own choice of sound, but I actually have a pair of these, and they work pretty well. Not as well against my admittedly very loud Harley-Davidson as simple foam earplugs, but I use them when I do need audio directions.
Yeah, the whole construction Christmas 12 days of gifts is a great start if you guys are looking for gifts for someone on your list that works in construction. And number 6 this week, top red stories, is setting CO2 in concrete improves strength. And so according to Carbon Cure, injecting CO2 into concrete can increase the concrete strength. And this story details how that process works. And so when the concrete is being made, CO2 is injected, and when it hardens or cures, the injected CO2 is mineralized, incorporating it permanently back into limestone. So this mineralized CO2 can also increase the concrete strength, and that enables producers to reduce the amount of cement content in their mixes while still maintaining strength and performance.
Number 5 on the list, the latest coronavirus relief package that includes funding for transportation, state and local governments. It's a $900 billion bipartisan emergency relief framework that includes $45 billion for transit, airlines, airports, buses, and Amtrak. State and local governments will get $160 billion, but it's unclear how much of that will be allocated to state DOTs. The Democrats have come down from their initial $2.2 or $4 trillion initial proposal to back this bipartisan bill, and Republicans are kind of balking at coming up from their $500 billion proposal with objections to the compromise bill's support of states and putting money directly into people's hands. This is your story, right? Isn't it, Jess?
I talk a lot about, infrastructure funding and the transportation, how that funds are going to be allocated. But Congress, they just can't agree on much right now. And we're not sure what that's going to look like and if they're going to attach it to the fiscal year 2021 budget, and funding expires, on the 11th, and the government could shut down on Saturday. It's just kind of a mess right now. And who knows if they're going to come to any agreement or if they're going to pass a 1-week extension until they can figure it out.
Yeah, this sounds like extension time.
Every December, I feel like there's one thing you can depend on. It's government shutdown, right?
Yeah, right. For Christmas.
Yeah. So the number 4 story of the week is a new analysis that highlights the top U.S. cities for construction work. And Next Insurance, they gathered and analyzed data from more than 50 U.S. cities to determine the best places for construction opportunities. And you might be surprised to learn that cities in the Midwest are among some of the most appealing for construction jobs. But if you want to know what city is number 1, you're going to have to go and read that story.
Number 3 on the list is pandemic success, how to minimize financial losses, construction overruns, and project delays. Smart PM Technologies, a construction project analytics supplier, offers some strategies to help avoid disputes arising from COVID-19's construction impacts, including managing risk and tracking and communicating to owners the pandemic's impact to control costs and schedules. These guys are steeped in managing projects, and they've offered some really interesting strategies to make sure that you can at least manage the risk that you're dealing with.
So the number 2 story is fog seals preserve pavement and drive innovation. So fog seals, they've been around for a while, and not many people are doing them anymore. So it's interesting that this story was trending this week. And what it's about is a town in Connecticut, Vernon, Connecticut. They put a large chunk of money into their pavement maintenance to the tune of $27 million to revive 125 miles of the community's roads. And fog seals using this Delta Mist asphalt rejuvenator is just one tactic that they're using to extend the life of their pavements there.
And the number 1 story on the list is about 2021 financial planning. Our industry accountant, Gary Bartecki, says the times have changed enough that procedures, policies, and businesses you work with and compete against might never be like they were before the pandemic. He suggests starting from scratch with your 2021 financial plans, adjusting your revenue budgets and related gross profits to reflect shortages of equipment, parts, materials, and labor, and reflect also the other new business realities that everybody's facing. It just doesn't seem like we're going to see pre-pandemic times anytime soon.
That's unfortunate. We're ready to be done with this pandemic. I think 2020 can end, and so can the pandemic, right?
Right. Well, thanks so much for tuning in this week. We'll keep counting these stories down as the weeks roll by. Thanks a lot, Jess, and I hope you all have a great weekend.
Thanks, Larry. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.